We're here on the first day of the Confer Woodland Show, the very sunny Confer Woodland Show, just on the outskirts of Bath, where I'm joined by Nick from the FCA. Nick, how's the show going?
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. We've had a lot of interest. Slightly worried yesterday when it was beating it down with rain and no one would come, but yeah, been very busy. A lot of people are chatting, maybe a few new members and everything, so yeah, pretty positive start with.
Yeah, and you're also in the Forest Worker Zone. What kind of things are you showing off? What kind of conversations are you having?
Quite a lot about safety at the moment. Obviously, we've got FISA in there as well. We've got the Coppice Federation, so it's a lot of it is about small woodlands, which is kind of good for the area we're in at the moment. That's kind of what we got in this area. A lot about planting and yeah, just general conversations. Some people going well, some people ain't. It's kind of what you expect, I would say.
Yeah, and maybe on that note, then, what kind of looking bigger picture, then, what kind of conversations are you having with members about forestry at the moment? What are their kind of concerns they're raising with you?
There is a lot of concern, and there's a lot of concern about budgets. No one's really certain where the forestry industry is going at the moment. There seems to be what's happening on the ground and the rhetoric don't seem to meet up in the middle. It's a lot of worried people wondering where we're going to go and whether a lot of us are going to have jobs in the next 12 to 18 months or so. Certainly with planting, which I'm involved with a lot. I'm an establishment contractor. I still not sure how much of the planting season I'm going to have. Still haven't had all tenders back. Still don't know from certain bodies whether I've won anything. It's kind of hard to kind of plan anything if you don't know what you've got to do, is it? So well, some worried people out there, certainly.
So it sounds then that you're still having a lot of paperwork delays. Is that kind of principally the problem?
I think it's partly the problem. Certainly since the last time I spoke about this on Radio 4 and all that kind of stuff, it hasn't particularly changed. I understand that the Forest Commission said they're going to streamline some of the paperwork issues, but they haven't actually come into detail with that, so it's quite hard to find out, trying to find out from DEFRA now whether what actually that's going to entail. And again, sort of feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit, but again, budgets are a problem at the moment, and we don't seem to be planting as much as possibly everybody wants to plant. I think there's probably a lot of reasons for that, other than paperwork and budget, where the land is becoming available and all that. We're certainly not planting as much. I mean, everyone knows that last year's planting numbers were disappointing, if I'm going to be polite about it. And I think industry needs to do better for the environment and for people working on the ground. I mean, we need to know what we're doing, don't we?
Yeah, I think there's a few points there. Firstly, in terms of that planting numbers, obviously we have this target of 30,000 hectares across the whole of the UK. I mean, do you think that's achievable?
No, frankly, no. I think we either need to revise the target or do much more to get somewhere near it. As it stands, as the way we're going now, no chance, I'm afraid.
And then in terms of looking and drilling into those figures at the moment, particularly England and Wales are planting a lot more broadleaves than they are conifers. What kind of repercussions do you think that will have for the industry?
Obviously there's the timber element, which everybody knows and everybody talks about. I mean, we need timber in this country. We import so much. 81% of our timber is imported. It's not sustainable. It can't be done. We need to get away from this. Conifer is bad. Native broad are the only option. We just need to get away from that. And I think you go around. I mean, this is the Confer show. Confer are also beating that drum, and fair play to them for doing that. I think a lot of people at the show would agree with that. We need to get that message across to the public that Conifer are a good thing, and they will. All the things that we're aiming to do, we can do with Conifer. It's a different way of doing the same thing. As a practical point of view, if we're going to plant lots of broadleaves, we need to protect them because we have so many predatory pressures, deer in my area, boar as well, squirrels. It takes so much longer to put a shelter on a tree than it does just to bang it in the ground. Or we've got to put a fence up, and all those things cost lots of money. I've just spoken about how the budgets are very, very tight. I mean, maybe we need to think about what we're putting in the ground, and maybe long term and short term, it is better probably to modify what we're doing to, adjust it to what the money we got in the industry to spend, because we're not doing enough.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting just to pick you up on you kind of touched on this, the fact that it's good you and I having this conversation or having a conversation with people at the Confer show, but it's a bit of an echo chamber. So how would you then get that message out to the wider public that the conifers aren't necessarily bad?
I think us as the FCA, Confer we would bang the drum all the time. I think the Forest Commission need to bang the same drum. I think we all do. I mean, we've got a Royal Forestry Society. There's loads of organisations in forestry, and we all think the same thing. I think we need somehow to come together to get that message out there. I mean, yes, yeah, are always keen to collaborate with everybody else to try and get these things done and sorted. And I would certainly urge everybody else, come and talk to us. I mean, we represent the people on the ground, and we all think the same thing. So, I mean, yeah, collaboration I think is going to be key. Every organisation needs to be pulling in the same direction, I think, and we'll win the public over that way. I don't think it's that big an ask. I don't think it's that hard a thing to do. We just all need to do it at the same time.
Yeah, no, totally. And interest, maybe just kind of lastly, you mentioned people on the ground, and we've spoken about more generally forestry, but how do you think the situation is right now for people on the ground? The planters, the contractors. What's the situation like right now?
Hard. It's very hard to be in business at the moment. Where certainly from a planting point of view, which is my background. I mean, our thing is labour. We need people to plant the trees in the ground. It's so hard to attract anybody to come and do it. Predominantly, people are self-employed. The pay is not great in areas. It's better in some. Conditions can be pretty bad. It's kind of difficult to attract somebody, especially if we're competing with other sort of industries and stuff like that, and they can maybe provide something a bit better or offering something a bit better. I think we need to do better to attract people, and I think that would start with giving contractors a bit of a helping hand in. We all want to employ. We all want to do the best we can possibly do. We need to get people in. We need to attract them. We need to train them. I mean, you take a harvesting contractor on a £500,000 piece of kit. I mean, you've got to make that decision then. If you're going to put a rookie on that, what's that going to cost you? It's going to be a lot. You kind of need either help to do that, or you need someone 80% now, which we need to find a way of doing that. I'm kind of hoping that the forest training services that we're involved with and Confor are leading on may help to alleviate that problem, but it's not going to happen very quickly. We need to get on with it.
Maybe just lastly, if you could change one thing or improve one thing in forestry, what would it be?
For planting tendering, we need to be much more clearer the direction we're going in, and we need to give contractors a much better helping hand. All the tendering at the moment it's either long-winded because of the paperwork, or it's difficult to do, or any number of problems. Really, I mean, we just need to make things easier for people on the ground, because we drive the industry. Without us, there is nothing. So, you need to give us a helping hand. That's what I would say.
Well, so I think few would argue with that. So, listen, Nick, thank you very much for speaking to us. It's been good to speak to you, and hope the rest of the show goes well.
Thank you very much, John.
Cheers.